Oh, today, graphing lines. Graphing lines. We need some words. This might be pretty straightforward, maybe. And you saw a little bit of it last year. So maybe a pretty nice day, depending on how well you understand the things I'm going to say next. X-intercept. Where the line meets the x-axis. That's what we call it, x-intercept. And if you're a visual person, you can put it on your picture here. Look here. Just make a little arrow. I like making the arrow sort of squiggly like this. Point right at it, put a dot on it, say right there. That's the x-intercept. That word will come up today. Then there's y-intercept. Well, this isn't going to be too exciting. There's not too much I've got to add here to the definition. It's where the line meets the y-axis. What's the only trouble that can happen for people here? Not remembering which one the x-axis is and which one the y-axis is. Maybe you remember perfectly, you're like, I know which is which. But notice my poster at the back. I try to keep a minimum of posters up here, just ones that are really helpful, so you've got to look around for them. But if you look on this poster down here, do you see? It's got a y up there, and it shows the x along here. So you can always take a look at the poster to remind yourself which one the x and y-axis are. If you happen to forget for a second. Okay, so if you're a visual person, then you're going to want another little squiggly arrow here. This one there, that's the y-intercept. Notice the x-intercept can be positive or negative. The y-intercept can be positive or negative. It just depends on the line. We're going to do so many different lines. Every possibility will probably happen eventually. And slope, we're supposed to have beat the heck out of over the last 2 days. We're supposed to like really had lots of time to work on that. So slope is rise over run. But we built a formula for it. Has anyone accidentally memorized the formula? Done so many questions that now you just know it. Ava. Yeah, please. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you can do it. You can actually do a y1 minus y2. It totally works like that. Yeah? So I'm going to write that down underneath. If you like her version better, y1 minus 2. I even saw a book once that had it like that. And then what's on the bottom? x1 minus x2. That works. There's nothing wrong with that method. The one I said in class was this way. But maybe she just understands. You just got to subtract the y values on the top, subtract the x values on the bottom. That's the whole deal. Okay. But the big thing is it's rise over run. It might have got lost a little bit in the work yesterday that we're talking about the rise and the run of the line. Any questions so far? All right. Do you need more time there? To graph the lines. 2 points. Hey, if they give you 2 points, life is easy. Here's what you do. Graph the 2 points. And my writing is going wild there. I'll fix it up here. Graph the 2 points. Then draw the line with a ruler. Those ones are supposed to be easy. And I wasn't careful enough one time when I taught this, because I think your worksheet, those easy ones are at the end, and it messed people up because they're like, oh, How do I do these ones? When it's given 2 points, and it's actually easier. So when you get your worksheet, you might want to do the back first, because the easy ones are on the back. Maybe you're like, no, I'll do the hard ones first, and then I'll know the back's going to go really quick. However you want, but that's the way the worksheet is set up, is those easier ones are second. The harder ones look like this. If they give you the slope and only 1 point, here's what you do. Step 1. Plot the point. They give you a slope and a point. Go ahead and graph that point. You already know that point's on the line. Step 2. This is the only tough thing we got to do all day today. Use the slope to get rise and run. I've just spaced that out a little bit on purpose so you can really see it. Use the slope to get rise and run. That won't be bad. That won't be bad. Step 3. Rise and run from the point to get more points. Okay, well, it's possible after explaining that, you're like, I sort of know what you mean, but not exactly. Well, that's why we're going to do like a billion examples. Most of this lesson is do a billion examples. How many example spots did I give you? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll do at least 4 together where it's like, okay, you're bored. I've done my job if you're bored. You're like, I totally get it. Then I'll do 3 where I just put them up, you try them, and then we share, and we'll see we're okay, and then off to the homework, okay? So that's the plan. All right, here's one where I do it all. It's the Mr. Todd show here. Graph the line that goes through the point 2, 3, and has slope 1/2. Step 1. You've got a point? Do that first. That's why we did all that graphing of points the other day, so we were ready for this moment. 2, 3. Point. Got it. Step 2. Use the slope to find the rise and run. Here's what I encourage you to do. You've got slope right there. Just take a little arrow, point it at the numerator, a little arrow, point it at the denominator. The one in the numerator is the rise. The one in the denominator is the run. Rise, run. So from the point given, I need to rise 1, run 2. Watch me do it. It's very visual. As you watch me do it, you're like, oh, I get this. From the point given, rise 1, run 2. New point. From that point, rise 1, run 2, another point. Oops. From there, rise 1, run 2, another point. From there, rise 1, run 2, another point. As I'm doing that, you might be like, how many points do you need? Like, by the time you got a couple of points, I can already put my ruler down and draw the line. My guide's always been 3. Make sure you have at least 3 points. I did a lot more than that here, but once you got 3, you should be able to get your ruler out and go, okay, I got it. I got the line here. I'm going to do the line really thin to make sure you can see it really well. That's it. Here's some details. We really should put arrows on the end of the line, and all we're indicating there is the line actually could keep going. I could keep rising and running forever. So the arrow just says, my page ended, but the line really could go on. Last thing, label it somehow. This was question 1, so I'm just going to put a little 1 beside it so you can see that that was line 1. Because on this one, and in the homework, it asks you to do like 3 or 4 of them on one page. If you don't label them, things are going to get confused. Question? Yeah. That's the whole deal. I'm going to bore you with that 7 more times. No, that's not true. three more times, and then we'll try and we'll get you to do them, and then we'll talk about them, okay? I'm going to switch colors so that you can see, and if you've got multicolors, this can help you in the homework, and we'll do a little less. Now I'll ask you. Graph the line that has slope -3 and goes through the point -3, 2. Do I have a point? Does it give me a point in this one? Yeah, right there. So I'm just going to put a 1 with a circle there. Point. My method says, go ahead, graph that point. So I go over here, -3, 2, and I graph that point. Step 2, use the slope to find a rise and run. Here we go. Slope -3. So for once in your life, you wish it's a fraction. This is one of the only things that can send you a curveball today. The slope here is -3. Does anyone remember with fractions, when you do want to have a numerator and denominator, what do you do with a whole number that doesn't have a denominator? Yeah, put it over 1, because that doesn't change its value. -3 divided by 1 is still -3, but now I've got a rise and run to use. So that's rise, and that's run. All right, so I'm rising -3. What does rising -3 mean? Down. So from that point, I go down 3, run 1, down 3, run 1, down 3, run 1. Do I need all these points? Well, no. I suppose technically 3 would be enough. I like doing a lot of points, me personally, just to make sure I get the line in the exact right spots. And there's little pieces sticking out there, but those are not relevant. I'm going to switch to blue, and then I'm going to draw my line with a ruler, friends, and then put an arrows on the ends and label that. Like I say, the homework, you got to do like 4 on one grid. It can get confusing if you don't label which line that is. That's number 2. So I just put a 2 out at the end of it so I know it was number 2 that I was working on. Do you have any questions? Does this seem familiar at all? You did some of this in grade 9. I don't know how far they got, but you did some of this in grade 9. Okay, let me count again. I did those first 2 on the first page. Then I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more to go. We'll do 3 kind of together, and then the other 3 I'll just make up ones and see if you can do them on your own. Do you need more time on that one? The next one has 2 different ones on the same grid. It says, plot the line with a y-intercept of -2 and slope of 1. To be honest, I jumped in and came up with maybe one of the toughest questions I could, identifying all this. Do they give a point? Joe says yes. It doesn't look like the other points. Which one of these pieces of information is the point? Here's the point. It's depending on if you understand the words or not, this could be an easier point than the other ones. You don't got to count around to find the point. It's the y-intercept of -2. Where does it go? What's the y-intercept? I just saw someone flipping back into the other page. That's good. Good question. Yeah, what is it? So that's where it meets the y-axis. So when it says y-intercept of -2, as long as you understand the words, that's an easier point to find. Go on the y-axis, down to -2. I've got my point. Now, slope of 1. Again, you wish these were fractions. It's actually a little easier when they're fractions. This one isn't a fraction. So what do I do when it's not a fraction?
Put it over 1.
Put it over 1. And then do this. Until you're really good at it, do this. Put little arrows and go rise, run. Because that tells you what to do here. And this part's very visual, so watch. From here, I rise 1, run 1. Rise 1, run 1. How many points do you need? Oh, I don't know. Only 3, I guess. but it's too much fun. I just keep going. Okay. Honestly, 3 or 4, make sure you put the ruler in the right spot. That's the honest part of it, I guess. So, well, just in case you're bored, I stopped to ask you 2 questions. Am I done once I've done that? No, what 2 things I got to do here? Arrows on it. I'm indicating to everybody that line keeps going. Actually, in later grades, we might see lines that don't keep going. They only keep going one direction, or they just have one section in the middle here. They're called line segments. So there's reasons why we want to get in the habit of putting the arrows on. Next, what's the last thing we should do? Put a label on it, because in your homework, you got to put 3 or 4 on one grid. Better label them to keep track of them, so that when I check them, I know they're in good shape. You could color code them as well. If you've got colored pens, you can do that. Yeah? I think it's easier to put the numbers. But you do it, you do you. Whatever's good for you. Yeah? I will color code this one. I'll switch to red now. Last one that I'll do on my own. These other ones, once they start calling them more examples, these are ones that are just me going, hey, why don't you try it out? I'll make one up. Take a couple minutes, you try it, and then we'll take it up and we'll just make sure we got it. That's how important this is. Plot the line with y-intercept 5 and slope negative 2/3. Do they give a point? What's the point that they give? 5. This right here is a y-intercept of 5. And what's a y-intercept? What does that tell you about the point? Yeah, it's where it meets the y-axis. So I go along the y-axis up to 5. Once you get a point, you're well on your way here. Now, slope negative 2/3. Oh, it is a fraction. When it's a fraction, actually, it's a little easier because you just point at it and go, that's rise. That's run. So from there, this is very visual, you can watch. From there, I rise negative 2. So that goes down 2, run 3. Rise negative 2, run 3. Rise negative 2, run 3. I guess I'm lying. I always do points. I always go one side. I always go right off the page. I said it was because I thought it was fun. That's not really the reason. I just like to know I've got it exactly right. So when I go to do the ruler, I know exactly where to put the ruler. I got to do it weird. I got to go like that and then like that. But you just put the ruler down, line it all up, and away you'll go. You put the arrows on there. And then especially in questions where there's a bunch of ones they want you to do on one grid, label it. Now, also, last year, somebody yelled at me with the homework and said there was too many on each page. So they said, can I just have another piece of graph paper? Yes, I've got other graph paper. If it just gets too jammed up and you don't like it and it's bothering you how much is on one page, feel free to come and get a piece of graph paper. Did I say that was the last one I was going to do? Like that? Now, we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, where I'll write something down and you try it. I'm going to go easy, hard, okay? So you know. First one, I think, based on what I've given you, should be an easy question. You decide whether you think it's easy. And then I'll do one where I'm like, okay, how can I try to fool them? Yeah? How can I make it a little bit more difficult? Okay, ready? Okay, more examples. An easy one. A line, copy this down, with slope 3/4 through the point -1, 2. Take a minute right now. Let's not wait around till homework time to see that you're having trouble. And take that one, which I think, I haven't done anything tricky. I haven't done anything weird. I kept it nice and easy. If you're watching this video at home, you should be trying it yourself, and then you can switch to 1.5 times speed or something and get to when I start talking again. Okay, did that give you enough time to give it a try? Can I just say one more thing? Situations like this, when you do it wrong, that's when you learn something. So if it doesn't go right for you, don't get frustrated. Just like, oh, I get that now. Can someone describe to me where the point is? You got to describe it to me like I've never seen it before and I got to try and do it, okay? So you got to use lots of good words. Tell me. To the left one? Up 2. So that first coordinate is the x. That's how much left or right I go. And that second coordinate is the y. That's how much up or down I go. -1, 2. Good. Got the point. Now, slope 3/4. Need more words. Someone to tell me exactly what to do using slope 3/4. Move up 3, because that's the rise. And then what direction 4? Right, yeah. Did you go right, but you just said left, yes? When you did it, did you go this way? 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that the way you went? Oh, no, you went left. Good, that's why we do this. Yeah, don't be bothered at all. Like, okay, I get that now, that's good. I'm glad we took that up, yeah? And then you do it again. Rise 3, run 4. I only had room for 3 points, but I said 3's enough, really. Once you got 3, you might even argue, as long as I got 2, I can do it. You know, I don't need 3, but 3 just makes sure it's all lined up right. Did you put arrows in the end? Only one on this page, so you don't have to label it. Yeah. No, and remember, we're taking these up and doing them together just to learn. So if we're not learning something, it's a waste of our time. What did I say? Easy, hard, easy, hard. Yes? Here comes a hard one. Wow, as hard as I can make it. I'm going to sit here for a second and go, actually, I don't know that I'm trying to make it hard. What I'm trying to do is make something like, what could I do that might trip them up so that we can do it together now so that the homework goes well. All right. Align You can turn to your next page, by the way. You don't have to put this on that same one. Go to the next grid. Align with x-intercept -5 and slope -3. Maybe you don't think that's that hard, or maybe it's like, oh, what do you mean by that? What's going on? Take some time. You got a minute or two to just try and see what you get. And if you make a mistake, well, then that's how we learn. Yeah, it is. It'll eventually shift back as I start to get the pieces in the right spots. I'm doing one at a time. Ooh. Yes, very complicated. Okay, I don't want to rush you. I really don't want to rush you. I want you time to think, but I don't want to bore you. Who'd like more time? Okay, is it okay? All right, we'll give it a try. Someone has to describe very carefully where the point is. Okay, where's the point? Down 5. X-intercept -5. x-intercept. Which axis is the x-axis? Good, but this is why we do it, right? I'm so glad you were brave enough to jump in and answer again. So we're looking for these mistakes. So it's along here, -5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you got that wrong, no, don't freak out. Don't get upset. It's not homework time yet. Certainly not a quiz or a test, just us going, oh, x-intercept on the x-axis. I got it. Now, slope -3. This is a problem. What am I going to do with this -3? Go ahead. Yeah, and then what? What am I going to do for run? Over 1. Okay? Maybe she already knew that. She didn't feel like she had to, but I think you should when you're doing it. When they give you whole numbers, make them into fractions by putting it over 1. Okay? So down 3 over 1. Down 3 over 1. Down 3 over 1. Is that enough points? Yep. Get out your ruler. Oh, I'm already on ruler. That's going off my page a little bit, but that's okay. Arrow on the other end. How'd it go? Was it okay? Made one little mistake. Hey, that's why we're doing these. How many more are we doing together? 1, 2. 2 more? Yeah? Good references, too. As you're doing this homework, you can peek back at these. What did I say? Easy, hard, easy, hard. I think this is the easiest question, but because I didn't do many examples of it, you might think it's hard. Okay? So I don't want you to be surprised in the homework. A line through the points 5, -2, and -3, 4. I'm going to take enough time for you to really think about this, because if you think this is hard, that's just because of the way I taught it. No. It's easy. It's easy. Just go ahead and use the information you got to try to graph the line. And again, if you have trouble with it, well, that's why we're doing it together, so that we get this figured out. What we do when we don't have a slope, we've only got 2 points. And I say it's easier. And you're going to agree by the time I finish. You take the time. You think it over. Okay, I don't want to rush you. I want you to have time to think. I don't want to bore you. Do you need more time? Okay, is there a point to use? 5, -2. Let's put that on there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, -2. Right about there. The other information isn't slope. But does anyone figure out why I don't care? What is it about the other information that makes life actually pretty easy here? What's this? It's another point, so let's put that on there. -3, 4. I don't need a slope. I just got to get my ruler out and go ahead and draw. So I think you'll find the back page of your homework are ones like that. Right, at first, if we've done so many with slope, you're scared when you don't get slope. It's actually easier. We're just going to use 2 points, graph the 2 points, boom, get your rule out and draw a line. Not bad. Do you have questions about that one? Okay, now make one more hard one to finish up with. Let me look at the homework. Is there anything in here? Yeah, okay. A line through the origin with slope 3/8. It might be easy. It might be easy. If you know what the word origin means.
I do.
0, 0. Yeah? Oh, you've seen that word before. Okay, so that wasn't that hard. The origin is right there. Add 0, 0. So if you know that, then this isn't particularly bad. But let me play silly for a second on my last example today. 3/8, what does that mean? What does slope 3/8 mean? How do I use that? Like, what does the 3 mean? What does the 8 mean? Rise or run. So this is, if you're having trouble, just do a little arrow thing, and you get the rise and run. So what does rise 3 mean I'm going to do from this point? Go up 3, and then over 8. 2, 4, 6, 8. This particular one, I don't have enough room to do any more there. And if you don't have any room, you can go backwards. You just go, okay, where was I over here where I could rise 3, run 8? So I just go, okay, 2, 4, 6, 8. And if that thinking backwards causes you trouble, think of it this way. I got to go to the point where I can rise 3, run 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and end up at that point. So you just got to sort of think backwards a little bit to get yourself an extra point if you're looking for one.
I just do opposite rise and run.
Yep.
I do the run first, run one.
I like it. I like it. That works too, yeah. How's that? How do you feel about that? You got a bunch to do, but you might have been bored near the end there, and that was on purpose, where it's like, okay, can you just give me the homework sheet and we'll fly through it? Do you need more time here?